Good evening, everyone. This is Henry Gambell with simpleroptions.com, and in tonight's free video I wanted to cover a couple ideas with you. The first one that I'm thinking about is one of the most simple things that you can use based off of a broad swing perspective when you look at the markets, because what I was going to bring with you is a couple of stocks that I'm actually trying to pick to the long side. Of course, the big catch with that is thinking, is the low in yet for the markets? And that I think is very questionable. I'm actually thinking or trying to work a couple of ideas that would take the spiders back down into about 265 or so. And from that point, maybe we start trying to see a little bit more back to the long side in the markets. But one thing that you can use to try to make that decision easier to say, okay, markets are looking a lot better, let's see if there's some stocks that we can come out and buy, is to look for a weekly close. And this is something that I like because it doesn't require any indicators whatsoever and is based just cleanly off of price. So you can see off of these previous weekly breaks, when you started closing below that, obviously that triggered some pretty rapid selling, and you never saw any of that during this nice progression higher. So in the same way, I'll continue to be looking for closes above these weekly highs. Now this would be the one that I would consider to be most key, because this would include the high that was used during that sharp sell-off. So until that happens, I'm a little bit questionable on the indexes and may look for some downside exposure. If you start to see a close above that, and you can, pick your index. The Qs have been holding up a little bit better than the S&Ps, but you'll notice the same concept still applies here, where we have yet to be able to actually close above those highs. So everything's still a little bit suspect until that can come through. When that does finally come through, and maybe it's from lower prices, but when it does, I'm going to be coming over and looking to buy these three stocks. If you look to Baidu, you can see that the last weekly squeeze that we had gave it a very solid move. So right back here in July of last year was when you had that pullback and really just exploded higher, and you can see the same signal developing now. Now keep in mind that these weekly squeezes will take some time to play out, but Baidu and Alibaba share this in common with each other, is that they've got this range that they've been consolidating in. Here I'm quoting that as admittedly being very wide, from about 190 down into 160, but if you can keep that in the back of your mind and keep that signal back there, well then maybe we can look for something like what we saw here. So those are two that I'm really going to be keeping in focus, and one I've brought to you previously, but I'm absolutely still in and keeping a close eye on, is MU. This is something where I always like kind of using that to I default back to this comment, just say, you don't have to take my word for it. Just look at the very basic signals that I'm trying to follow. You can see you had your point of consolidation back here between, I guess, kind of the beginning of the year in 2017. Then we come back and have the consolidation here, or excuse me, 2016, but you have a similar signal here. There, you spend some time chopping, maybe pulling back a little bit, but this is what you really want to be in the position for, and we're seeing a signal that suggests that that may be happening again. So keep the index levels in mind and don't get too aggressive until we see those start to reverse. When they do, I think those will be some good names to go to. So I hope that's helpful. You guys have a good trading session on Friday, and we'll touch base in the next free video.